Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. This story happened about 20 years ago. Time seems like yesterday, seems like a dream. I was involved with a Unitarian Universalist church a long time ago and got to be great friends with the minister. Her name was Heather. And Heather would always get me to do some weird speeches and things for different events. And one time she called me and she said, "Dan, I got a special mission for you." Mission? So there's a man named Fred, and he's in his 80s, and he's isolated, and he has nobody, no friends, no family to talk to, and he would like somebody to talk to him. Come talk to him, and I think you can do it. If there's anybody who can do it, you can do it. And I was like, why me? She said, well, Fred has a little bit of an attitude. He's a very high IQ human being, and he's not the nicest person. And all the churches in town, he's been asking, send somebody to spend some time with me, and everybody's come, and he's run them all off. So it was like a challenge. You're gonna come in there and take care of Fred. So I was intrigued, and I found out that Fred was a music professor. He was a Ukrainian professor of music when in his heyday. And so we set up the meeting, and I walked in to see Fred. He had this little one-room apartment efficiency place that he was at, and I said, "Fred, I'm Dan Barber, nice to meet you, and I gotta tell you, I don't feel sorry for you." And he said, "What?" I said, "I'm a trader. I've been told you're a smart guy, and I'm here to collect up some of those smarts." And he's just like, "Whoa, that's different." So we got to know each other. We kind of crossed swords a little bit, and we started getting to know, because I had to prove myself too. It was not him just proving to me that he was this intelligent person that has run off all his family. I could see why. He was honest and straight to the point. There was no kindness left in his body. We argued. We talked about philosophy. He was religious and I am not. And we had debates about that, debates about the existence of God, the debates about whether the philosophy is right for God, all those kind of things we talked about, and he enjoyed the heck out of it. He enjoyed it so much, and I did too. I kept coming back. One time, one of the miracles that happened with Fred is he was all gnarled up, but he was a music professor. And he had a piano that was sitting there, and I said, "Could you play that?" He said, "I haven't played it in a long time." He said, "But if I get in the mood, I'll see what I can do." And he got up to that piano one day and sat on the edge of his bed, and I saw his fingers straighten out. I saw he sat, he just started playing. He started singing. It was old Ukrainian music from his childhood, and he felt youthful, and it was a beautiful thing to see. That made the whole effort worthwhile, just watching that. One day he got moved to another facility in Lawrenceville, on Lawrenceville Highway. It was more of like a home, and they had nurses and everything. And I went to visit him, and none of the nurses spoke English, and they were all attractive. It was an interesting situation. And I used to smuggle into that. I'd smuggle for him cigarettes, beer, and it had to be Old Milwaukee. He said, "Old Milwaukee's the best because it's made out of grain, not rice, like the other crap that they made." He said, "And then you've got to get me the port wine. It's in the bottom shelf. It's the cheapest. Taylor's, it's the cheapest, but it's the best. So I started learning to drink port wine with Fred. He got moved to this other facility, and he said, "You gotta help me get out of here." And I said, what's wrong? This place looks great. He goes, "It's not what you think. They got pool tables, but they got no sticks. They got hiking trails in the back, and none of us can walk." I said, "Well, what's the problem?" He said, "This is a house of prostitution. All these nurses are prostitutes." And I said, "Well, what's wrong with that?" And he said, "I can't afford them." He said, "That's your problem, is you can't afford them." He said, "Yeah, I want out of here. I don't like this." I said, "I can't help you there, you know." But he was delightful. He was a very interesting man. And one day, I get an email, and it's from Fred. And that's how we kept in touch, through email. At that time, there was nothing else really, except phone. And I got an email from him, and he told me he died. And he said, he's sending me this email from heaven. And he said, "I was right." He said, "I'm right, you're wrong. There is a heaven, there is an afterlife." And it's true. So he must have gotten a family member to send me this email. But in the email, it was very touching. He said, "Dan, I just want to thank you for coming to visit me." He said, "I really enjoyed having these conversations, and you made life worth living for the last little bit of my life." Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters.